government has decided to deploy security departments, including Nepal Army and Nepal Police, for construction of temporary settlement facilities for the victims of the Jajarkot earthquake. Also in this edition of Kantipur News, we have updates about Prime Minister Pushpakumar Dahal's visit to the United Arab Emirates for COP28 and the unlivable conditions in northern Gaza. Good evening, I'm Prarambha Dahal. Let's begin with the main stories. Government unaware about involvement of Nepali nationals in Russian security forces. Ministry of Foreign Affairs remains indifferent despite 4 Nepalis killed in the Russia-Ukraine conflict. 91% of teachers appearing for lower secondary license examination failed to clear the test. Serious questions raised on school to university education of the country. United Nations says parts of northern Gaza are now unlivable. WHO Director General adds more people could die from diseases than bombings. Lalitpur and Pokhara play a goalless stalemate in the Nepal Super League. Lalitpur climbed atop the standings with 4 points and a better goal difference. Despite the Nepali embassy in Russia confirming the death of 4 Nepali nationals representing Russian forces, the government of Nepal is yet to issue any official notice. Even the family members of those killed have been informed about the deaths after the embassy's correspondence to the Department of Consular Services on November 25. However, the government has remained indifferent towards the issue of death of Nepali nationals in the war zone of foreign countries. While the Ministry of Foreign Affairs is yet to issue an official information, its secretary and spokesperson, among other responsible officials, have ignored approaches from the Nepali media. The Nepali embassy in Moscow has already received death certificates and had sought help from the Department of Consular Services to establish contact with the family members of those deceased. This issue surfaced in the media yesterday only after the correspondence was made public by the family members of those killed. The embassy has certified that 1 individual had died on 14th July, while the 3 others were killed on November 15. Ensuring security and safety of Nepali nationals who leave for abroad from formal or informal means is the responsibility of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. However, the ministry has no data on the number of Nepali nationals in Russia and those fighting in the Russia-Ukraine war. After the news of a few Nepali nationals joining the Wagner Group, a Russian state-funded private military entity, surfaced a few months ago, the ministry had urged Nepali nationals not to go to Russia as a labor permit for such purpose did not exist between the two nations. However, the ministry had not barred anyone from traveling to Russia on a tourist visa. Around 200 Nepali nationals are thought to be representing Russian forces in the ongoing conflict. However, the government does not have an exact figure regarding this issue. Now, with the dream of improving the financial status of the family by generating more revenue, Pitam Karki of Sangja Putali Bazar 5 had reached Russia only 2 months ago. However, his dreams have met a sour fate as his death has left his wife and 2 sons grieving. Karki spent 16 years in Nepal Army. Having retired from the army 5 years ago, Karki then sought alternatives to strengthen his family's financial status from foreign employment. He spent 1 year in Afghanistan, which did not generate expected income, and then he returned Nepal. Karki then planned to live for Russia with his friends. Without even informing his family, Karki had reached Russia 2 months ago and joined the security forces. However, a missile had landed on his bunker, which the Nepali embassy in Moscow has identified as the cause of his death. The only son of Hari Bahadur and Indrakala Karki, Pitam's death has left the entire family without any support. Relatives of the family have said that the government must initiate efforts to ensure compensation for the Karki family. Along with Pitam, 3 others who had joined Russian forces have been killed. Seeking foreign employment and losing lives abroad has almost become a sour fate for Nepali nationals. The government does not have any data on Nepali nationals reaching abroad through informal channels and succumbing to unfortunate incidents. In such a situation, there is no certainty about when the body of Pitam, who was killed in a bunker, would arrive Nepal, while his family has no alternative but grieving the loss. Sukilumba village of Ilam Municipality 9 is mourning the death of Gangaraj Mokhtan, who was involved in the Russian security forces. Gangaram, who had reached Moscow 2 months ago, had last spoken to his wife Yanjila on 9th of November. Gangaram had gone out of contact since then. The news of his death has left the entire community in grief. The family of the deceased and the locals have demanded the government to repatriate his body back home at the earliest. It is the responsibility of teachers to ensure quality education for children and develop capable and responsible citizens. For this, the teachers are required to mandatorily pass the teacher's license examination. However, 91.4% of the teachers appearing for the license examination for lower secondary level administered by the Teacher Service Commission failed to clear their license test. This result has raised serious questions on the education standard from school to university level of the country. It is the responsibility of the Teachers Service Commission to appoint, conduct appraisal and issue recommendations after administering the license examination for the community schools. A total of 151,000 teachers had appeared for the license test for the lower secondary level held by the Commission recently. At least 50% was required to clear the test, which required the appearing candidates to have a minimum education of grade 12. However, only 8.6% of those appearing in the exam at 13,700 cleared the test, while 138,000 failed it. The Commission has said that the number of candidates failing the license test was a serious issue. This is not the first instance with such poor results in teachers' license exam. 82% of the 181,000 candidates had failed the examination last year. Education subject is no longer the priority of the students. In addition to that, those scoring very low in the secondary education examination SEE and those not receiving admission in other subjects have been studying education discipline. Teachers and students have accepted the fact that low number of students, irregular academic calendar and lack of dedication has led to the poor result. Such results are not limited to teachers' license examination, as similar trend has also been seen in the license examination administered for the students of medical science, where around 60% students failed to clear the test. In the recent license examination for nursing, 82% of those appearing for the test had failed to clear it. Analysts are of the opinion that students have been failing to make serious efforts in their academics since the implementation of the grading mechanism in the SEE and implementation of alternative learning methods after the coronavirus pandemic. The trend of political appointments of teachers can be seen from schools to universities in Nepal. Number of students seeking quality education and better opportunities abroad is also on an increasing trend. Academic institutions are going vacant in absence of students. Failure in addressing these serious issues could lead to severe impacts on the nation's education mechanism. Long time has gone by since the federal government had put forward the idea of a medical college in each province to ensure the fundamental right of medical and health service for the citizens. And despite prioritizing Madhes, Lumini and Karnali provinces in the budget of the fiscal year 2016-17, the government has yet to exhibit interest in moving ahead with required efforts. It has been more than 7 years when the erstwhile government led by KP Sharma Oli had announced of building a teaching hospital in Bardiwas, Mautari of Madhes province. And despite completion of works related to establishment of medical college infrastructure development and construction project office, allocation of required human resource, survey of land, detailed project report and environment impact assessment, construction of physical infrastructures is yet to begin. The reports for land selection, among other aspects, furnished to the Ministry of Forest and Environment and the Ministry of Education, Science and Technology 2 years ago are yet to be approved. The Supreme Court has already scrapped the writ against construction of the facilities of the teaching hospital in the forest region. Now, despite the lapse of more than 17 months since a decision for establishing the teaching hospital, required works are yet to begin. The National Planning Commission has included establishment of medical colleges in its 14th plans to ensure higher education and quality health services for the public. Karnali province capital Birendranagar has a plight worse than that of Bardiwas, Mautari. While the medical college infrastructure construction project office has been established, DPR and environment impact assessment are yet to be conducted. Construction works of medical college in Butol of Lumini province are yet to begin in absence of budget. Despite demanding 11 billion rupees after concluding all procedures for land acquisition, the Ministry of Finance is yet to release the required funds. 200 bighas of land was demanded for construction of a 600-bed capacity teaching hospital in Butwal, of which the Ministry of Forest and Environment provided only 50 bighas of land. In our Public Voice segment, we have asked in all provinces why they think has the government plan to establish medical colleges in each province not materialized. Let us now take a look at what they had to say.
अस्थिर सरकार हुनु र मन्त्रीहरू फेरिरहनु यो मुख्य कारण
योजनाहरू लिएर आउने अनि कार्यान्वयनको प्रक्रियामा चाहिँ नजाने त्यसो भएको कारणले साथै प्रदेशमा मेडिकल कलेजहरू बन्न नसक्ने जस्तो लाग्छ मलाई।
मेडिकल चाहिँ यो माफियाहरूको पनि यसमा अलिकति केही षड्यन्त्र हुन सक्छ।
कुनै पनि निर्णय गरेको कुरा चाहिँ एकदम कार्यान्वयनमा आयो भने जनताको लागि चाहिँ एकदम लाभदायक हुन्छ।
आफ्नो सरकार हुँदाखेरि अब कार्यान्वयन ल्यायो के अर्को सरकार आउँदाखेरि कार्यान्वयन ल्याएन।
सरकार निजी स्तरको परमा परेर यो चाहिँ असफल भएको।
राज्यले शिक्षा र स्वास्थ्यप्रति हेर्ने दृष्टिकोण विचार शून्य हुनु नै मुख्य कारण हो।
सरकारले साथै प्रदेशहरूमा सरकारी मेडिकल कलेज खोल्दिएमा चाहिँ हामी जस्तो युवाहरूलाई पढ्न सजिलो हुन्थ्यो।
यो सरकारको चासो नपुगेर राजनीतिक बातभन्डा नमिलेर हो।
Women and children are believed to be safe among family and friends. However, the data of Nepal police show that the perpetrators of 88% of sexual violence were close ones. Majority of the incidents of sexual violence have been reported at home, workplaces and public places. Rape, prostitution, child sexual abuse among others are considered sexual violence. According to data of Nepal police, a total of 20,880 gender violence had been reported in all 7 provinces last fiscal year, with the highest 3,357 cases of sexual violence. 88% out of 3,678 perpetrators that have been identified, which is 3,243, were the kith and kin of the victims. Police say that the number of cases of sexual violence in the country could be much higher as many cases go unreported. 63% of the victims of sexual violence are children. 375 children under the age of 10 and 1,393 children between the age of 11 and 16 have faced sexual violence within a year. 95% of additional 900 cases of gender-based violence which had been registered at the National Women Commission are related to violence against women. Women and children have been abused at home, workplaces as well as public spaces. A 16-day campaign against gender-based violence is conducted annually in the country. Despite active involvement of the Ministry for Women, Children and Social Welfare, Women Commission among other government entities and dozens of non-governmental organizations to address the issue, the number of cases related to sexual violence has not decreased. The National Penal Code 2017 includes provisions concerning control of sexual violence against women and children. As per the provision, the perpetrators can be charged fines and jailed as well. But victims have been unable to reach the judicial body as perpetrators of the majority of the cases are the close ones. It is now time for a short break, but for more news, to stay with us. Election for the members of the National Assembly is to be held on the 25th of January. Today's meeting of the Council of Ministers has decided to hold the election of the National Assembly on the date recommended by the Election Commission. The 6-year term of 20 members of the National Assembly is set to expire on the 3rd of March. Of the 20 seats, election will be held for 19, while 1 member will be appointed by the President on the recommendation of the government. Based on the existing arrangement, election must be held 35 days before the expiry of the term. The meeting has also decided to deploy security departments, including Army and Police, under the leadership of the Chief District Officer for construction of temporary settlement facilities for the survivors of the Jalalkot earthquake. The Cabinet has also appointed High Court Pardon Judge Leknath Paudel as the chair of the Army Special Court. Prime Minister Pushpa Kamal Dahal has left for the United Arab Emirates to attend the 28th Conference of Parties to the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change COP28. According to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Dahal will attend the high-level segment of the COP28 World Climate Action Summit being held on December 1 and 2 and will also deliver a statement. The Prime Minister will be hosting a high-level site event, Call of the Mountain, Who Saves Us from the Climate Crisis. which is to raise Nepal's voice on climate change as well as promote mountain agenda in the COP negotiation process. Dahal will also visit the Embassy of Nepal in Abu Dhabi, where he is scheduled to address the Nepal-UAE Business Summit. Prime Minister Dahal has been accompanied by his daughter, Ganga Dahal, Minister for Water Resources and Irrigation Shakti Bahadur Bosnet, and Minister for Forest and Environment, Dr. Birendra Mahato, along with other high-ranking government officials. Prime Minister Dahal is scheduled to return home on the 3rd of December. It is now time for our segment Public Polls, where you text us with your opinion.
Public Polls.
Before we ask today's question, let us take a look at the result from yesterday's poll. Yesterday we had asked, what should be done to ease distribution of chemical fertilizers? 13% were for A, adequate import, 20% were for B, regulate distributors, and 67% were for C, domestic production. And here is today's question. What kind of issues should Nepal prioritize at the COP28 climate conference? Your options are A, stress on compensation, B, curbing carbon emission, and C, issues of mountainous countries. The voting is on. Type NEWS, select your option A, B, or C, and send it to 34001 to share your opinion with us. Time now for the international news. The United Nations Relief and Works Agency for Palestinian Refugees has said that parts of northern Gaza are now unlivable, while the World Health Organization's Director General Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus has said that more people could die from diseases than bombings. Thomas White, Director of UNRWA Affairs in Gaza, who has been visiting the north of the territory and the area around Gaza City, has said that several parts of the city were eerily quiet and some areas of northern Gaza were unlivable because there was such a level of destruction with no power and limited water. Meanwhile, this morning, the head of the World Health Organization, Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus, shared on X the details on the number of cases of different diseases in Gaza. Ghebreyesus said, given the living conditions and lack of health care, more people could die from disease than bombings. According to Ghebreyesus, 111,000 are suffering from acute respiratory infections, 12,000 from scabies, 11,000 from lice, 75,000 from diarrhea, 24,000 with skin rash, 2,500 each with impetigo and chickenpox, and 1,100 from jaundice. The current 6-day truce has allowed around 200 lorries carrying humanitarian aid a day to enter the strip. But aid agencies have said much more is required. We've got more news coming up, but right now it is time for yet another short break.
Sports news.
A goalless stalemate, the first of the ongoing Nepal Super League season in the fixture between Lalitpur City and Pokhara Thunders, saw Lalitpur climb atop the standings with 4 points. Winger Ayush Ghalan had put Lalitpur defenders on alert from the beginning of the match and created several opportunities. However, Pokhara failed to convert their chances. Lalitpur also did not make the best of their efforts, which saw the match end with a goalless draw, the first of the ongoing NSL season. Now, despite the draw, Lalitpur have climbed atop the standings with 4 points on a better goal difference. In tomorrow's match at the NSL, Dhangadi FC play Butwal Lumini FC. That is all for the moment. Up next is the news in Nepali. Thank you for staying with us. Goodbye for now.